Here we are again today for the anatomy class and physiology class. So today we are going to talk about the system which has a most important role in your life in relation to the physiology, in relation to the anatomy, or if we talk about in relation to your emotions, in relation to your attachments, or the love, kindness. The one chakra is also associated here that you call the heart chakra. So today we are going to talk about the cardiovascular system. This is the very beautiful system that has been designed by this universe. So the system, how does it work? How the blood flow from the heart to the different organs, to the different parts of the body. Inside the bloodstream, we see generally that only the red color is red color. It's like a fluid which is flowing inside your bloodstream in the blood vessels. But so many other structures that also flows in that bloodstream too. So many things which is flowing, which is more important sometimes toxins are also flowing, sometimes nutrition is also flowing. So many structures, so many components that flows in your bloodstream. So heart has its own nature to work in relation to the lungs too. That's why we sometimes say cardiorespiratory. Because if your heart is beating too much faster, as we all know, the heart is the most stressful organ of the body, isn't it? Regularly it is working whether you are awake or whether you are asleep. Regularly it is pumping like this way. It never stops until you are alive. But we never focus on that. How my heartbeat is whooping up. Sometimes it's beating more faster. When you climb the stairs, when you run for 100 meters, 200 meters, when you are stressed, angry, anxious, your heartbeat automatically shifted. Why it is shifted? To give the stimulus to the brain, something is getting wrong inside your body. So then the brain sends the signal back to the body, oh, you are out of balance, come to the balance. So then you stop, you listen, you feel how to go now. So guys, cardiovascular system, it's basically heart. Love, kindness, attachment, emotions, feelings, everything is attached. So it's not only the function to just supply the blood. So it has its own uniqueness in relation to the body, in relation to the activity of daily living. So if we are going to talk about the cardiovascular system, so the term itself says cardio and vascular. But if we divide the term into two parts, right? If we divide the term into two parts, cardio is related to the heart. This is with the heart and its related structures. Vascular is for the vessels. These are the highways for the blood. That is your arteries and veins. So this structure, the heart, that supplies the blood. Now, this is the powerhouse from where the blood supplies. But who carries the blood? What are the highways? These are the highways for the blood, which takes the blood from heart to the body and from body to back to the heart. So if we're talking about the cardiac cycle, that how the blood flows, from where it carries, what are the different structures that carries the blood to the heart, and what are the different structures that carries the blood from heart to the body? There is one cardiac cycle we say, guys, right? This is the cardiac cycle or circulatory cycle we say. So that cardiac cycle, heart, if you look at your notebooks or in the manual, the heart is a very different structure. It is a very complicated structure, the anatomical structure of the heart. Where does it situated? The heart is situated, this is your sternum, the chest bone. So heart is situated in the mediasternum, from the middle part of the sternum, it is going like this way. Most of the component of the heart on the left side, but it starts from right side too. So the size of the heart is almost the one fist of an individual, right? The one fist of an individual. So basically, if I'm talking about the cardiac cycle, the heart has a very different shape. The anatomical structure of the heart is very complicated. Here I am trying to making it more simple for you. So I'm going to draw it in square shape so you can easily understand how the blood flows. From where the blood comes to the heart and how it goes back to the body. So square shape, right? But don't tell to anyone that our teacher has explained us that a heart has square in shape. It is just I am explaining you to understand easily how the blood circulation comes and goes. But whatever the structure that is drawn in your manual, that is the anatomical structure of the heart. But here we are going to make it a little bit more simple. So, if we talk about the structure of the heart or that cardiac cycle, so how that cardiac cycle looks alike, it's basically I am drawing a square here, right? And a square shaped heart, just to understand easily. So if we draw a square, this is a one box. So as we know the heart, I think all we know is that it has chambers, right? Blocks, the chambers. So how many chambers we have in the heart? 4, right? The 4 chambers we have, which name as the 4 chambers. If we talk about the 4 chambers, it name as right atrium, right ventricle, it is CLE, right atrium, right ventricle. Then on the left side we have left atrium, left ventricle. So these are the 4 chambers inside your heart: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So now what we need inside these chambers? We need blood. So what are the different structures that took the blood from the different part of the body? There are the 2 veins, right? There are 2 veins that we called superior and inferior vena cava. So the 2 veins, the one name as superior vena cava and the one name as inferior vena cava. So the superior and inferior vena cava, these are the 2 veins that takes the blood from the different parts of the body. So the superior one, which is on the top, the superior one takes the blood from head, neck and thorax, from your thoracic area. So the superior one takes the blood from the superior part of the body, from the head, from the neck and from the thoracic spine, the mid part of your spine, before the lower back. The inferior one takes the blood from the abdomen, and lower limb, the lower part of the body. So the superior one takes the blood from the head, neck and thorax, and the inferior one takes the blood from the abdominal area and the lower limbs. So now these two veins carries the blood and the blood comes to the first part, the first chamber that we call the right atrium. Now the blood enters. The whole blood enters into the right atrium here. Now we know that the right atrium has limited space, guys, right? The right atrium has very limited space. So as the blood completely fills into the right atrium, what it creates? It creates the pressure because the surface area is limited. So as the blood completely fills there, it creates pressure to go to the next chamber. But here you can see there is no pathway. Right now there is no pathway. We have only made the 4 blocks here. So in between this atrium and ventricle there is a one door, or you have heard about that term that we called valve, right? The valve. So what happens here now? In between this right atrium and right ventricle, there is a one gate or passage you can say, which we call the valve. So here is a valve that we call tricuspid valve. So as the blood completely fills into the right atrium, it creates the pressure and the tricuspid valves get open and the blood enters into the right ventricle, right? Then the blood enters into the right ventricle. So it enters into the right atrium, creates the pressure, this tricuspid valve gets open and the blood enters into the right ventricle. So I hope this must be clear to you guys, that from where the blood comes to the right atrium, how it goes to the right ventricle by the opening of the tricuspid valve. Now the next thing comes here now, it's very interesting now. So as the blood enters into the right ventricle, after that, as the blood enters into the right ventricle, so there is a pulmonary trunk, right? There is a pulmonary trunk. So through this pulmonary trunk, so this is our pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery. So we have lungs. We have 2 lungs, right and left lungs. So this pulmonary trunk attaches to the lungs here, right? So lungs, so right pulmonary trunk goes to the right lung, left pulmonary trunk goes to the left lung. So trunk has a branches, so right one goes to the right side, left one goes to the left side. So after that, my dear friends, that blood, after the right ventricle, the blood enters into through the right side, right lung, through the left side, it goes to the left lung. So after that, as the blood goes to the lungs, what we are inhaling now, what we inhale mostly generally, if I am talking about, when you inhale, what we inhale? Oxygen, isn't it? We inhale the oxygen. So it takes the oxygen from the lungs. So it takes oxygen from the lungs and leaves carbon dioxide. So as the blood enters to the lungs, it takes oxygen from the lungs and leave carbon dioxide, which we exhale, right? Which we exhale. So from the right ventricle through the pulmonary trunk, the blood enters to the right lung, to the left lung through right pulmonary artery, left pulmonary arteries. And from the lungs, we take the oxygen and leave the CO2, which we exhale. So that's why we have discussed the respiratory system, guys. It is very important if we are breathing properly. So more amount of oxygen reaches to the deep part of the lungs. There is an alveoli, which is responsible for the exchange of the gases. But if we are not breathing properly, what happens then? Only upper part of the lungs has a good sufficient oxygen, and when it comes to the lower part, it takes long time, and the blood circulation completed that time. It passes so many times, so there is a lack of nutrition to the cells and tissues, and there may be the degeneration of the cells and tissues, my dear friends. So now that we have discussed, this is which side of blood circulation is this? This is the right side, which we have discussed, right? This is your right side blood circulation. So right side carries deoxygenated blood. So this is the right side circulation that carries the deoxygenated blood. So as the blood enters into the lungs, it takes oxygen, leaves CO2, the blood becomes oxygenated. Right? The blood becomes oxygenated now. So now through the pulmonary vein, though there is a pulmonary vein, now through the pulmonary vein, the blood enters into the left atrium. Now through the pulmonary vein, the blood enters to the left atrium. So dear, same story repeats here, right guys? The same story repeats here, which we have discussed on the right side. Left atrium also has limited space. Surface area is limited. So as the blood enters into the left atrium, it again creates the pressure. Isn't it? It again creates the pressure there. So same thing, here we have discussed about this tricuspid valve. In between the left atrium and the left ventricle, there is a one door or the gate or the wall, you can say, that is your bicuspid valve. So in between left atrium, left ventricle, there is a bicuspid valve. So as the blood completely fills into the left atrium, the bicuspid valve gets open, right? The bicuspid valves get open and the blood enters into the left ventricle. Again, I'm explaining you one more time. Blood becomes oxygenated through the pulmonary vein. The blood goes to the lungs, to the left atrium, right? Through the pulmonary vein, the blood comes to the left atrium. Bicuspid valve gets open, it creates pressure here. Blood enters to the left ventricle. Now through the left ventricle, from here, the biggest artery in the body. There is a biggest artery in the body that we call the aorta. What do you call it? Aorta. So through the aorta, the blood supplies. So through the aorta, the blood supplies to the rest of the body. So through the aorta, the blood supplies to the rest of the body. And this is your left side blood circulation. So left side carries oxygenated blood. right? So this is the right side and left side. So left side carries oxygenated blood, right side carries deoxygenated blood, and that is we call your whole cardiac cycle, right? So this is your cardiac cycle, how the blood coming, going from heart to the body and back from body to the heart. So how much time it takes, if you just think about that, how much time it takes to complete the whole process? It takes long time for me to explain you, but how much time it takes, which is processing going inside your body? It takes 0.08 seconds only. So it is very fast that is going on. You cannot see it, that's why we not believe sometimes, we don't believe. But internally, that's why I always ask you guys, we have to focus on the internal body also, not only the external body we have to feel. The day you learn, the day you connect with your internal body, the life becomes more easy for you. And it can synchronize with the external body too. And you will become more comfortable, more calm, more relaxed. And there will be the less stress level in your life. So this is the whole cardiac cycle, takes 0.08 seconds to complete. So in the flow chart, if we explain this cardiac cycle, let's have a revision with you also. So the journey starts, right? Just take a quick revision. Just look at your notebooks now to the manual, which we have noted down. So the journey starts from the right atrium, right guys? So right atrium. Then after that, right ventricle. Then after we have, in between the right atrium and the right ventricle, we have tricuspid wall. Okay. So the blood enters through the right atrium, through superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. SVC stands for superior, just look at your notebook, superior vena cava, which we have discussed before. IVC stands for inferior vena cava. So now the superior one, as we discussed earlier, it brings the blood from the head, neck and thorax. Inferior one takes the blood from the, lower limb and abdomen. So the blood enters to the right atrium. So as the blood completely fills into the right atrium, the tricuspid wall get open, right? The tricuspid wall get open and the blood reaches to the right ventricle. So right atrium, right ventricle. After that, the next thing comes is your pulmonary trunk. So by the pulmonary trunk, here we can draw or we can write it down. So through the pulmonary trunk, right? Through the pulmonary trunk, yes, you know that the blood enters into the lungs. It's clear up to here? So through the pulmonary trunk, the blood enters into the lungs, and this blood is the right side circulation, the right side blood is deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood. It's clear? Then we come to the next, the left side. So here we have what we say that the pulmonary vein. But before to jump into the pulmonary vein, we know, So it takes oxygen from the lungs and leaves carbon dioxide. Right? As we have discussed earlier, takes oxygen from the lungs and leaves CO2. So now through the pulmonary vein, the blood enters to the, where does it enter? It enters to the, just look at your notebooks, left atrium. So through the pulmonary vein, the blood enters to the left atrium. Then in between the left atrium and the left ventricle, we have a bicuspid wall. So as the blood completely fills into the left atrium, and it has to go to the next component, that is your left ventricle. So as the bicuspid walls get open, the blood enters to the left ventricle. Then after that, through the aorta, the blood supplies to the rest of the body. This is left side circulation, so it carries oxygenated blood. Right side carries deoxygenated blood. So this is the flow chart of the cardiac cycle. Takes 0.08 seconds. I hope this must be clear to you and having one idea, little bit idea. I know it takes long time to learn about it. Just an idea about you in relation to the yoga postures, in relation to the different practices of yoga, the science of breathing, it helps you a lot. I hope, guys, this is the cardiac cycle. That must be clear to you. So this is what we have discussed, guys, for this, the whole cardiac cycle. We drew a diagram on the square shape, how it goes, and this is the flow chart in front of you. So you can easily understand how it goes. After that, after the cardiac part, the next part is your blood vessels. The vascular, the vessels, the highways for the blood. So the two structures, the highways for the blood, that carries the blood from heart to the body and back from body to the heart. So that we call, as you all know, the arteries and the veins. So vessels, right? Vessels, arteries and veins. So arteries and veins. So as we all know, guys, with the arteries, if we talk about the arteries here, artery is thick in the diameter. If we take an example, we have this, as you feel the blood pressure, you have to feel the pulse. You always check this radial artery, right? You check here, the arteries are here. You check on the lower body. Because why we check that pulse in the arteries? Because artery is thick than the blood vessels of your veins. Artery has more diameter than the veins. Artery is thicker than the veins. And it carries the blood with high pressure. If you have ever noticed in your past or any past incidents was there, as the artery gets cut, how the blood comes out, the blood spurt with a high speed. And if you have seen that color of the blood is dark red. Isn't it? The color of the blood is dark red. So So as the artery gets cut, the blood spurt out with a high speed. And arteries always carries oxygenated blood. That's why you have seen that the blood is dark red in color, hemoglobin. So if we talk about here now, so artery has a big diameter. So artery is more thicker than the veins, right? Arteries carries blood with high speed and carries oxygenated blood. What it carries? It carries oxygenated blood. Right? So artery is more thickened than the veins, carries blood with high speed, carries oxygenated blood always. Now if we come to the veins. Veins are narrower than the arteries. If you have seen, the veins has not that much diameter. So many branches, so many veins come. So veins are narrower. If you take in one example, as you went to the doctor and sometime doctor sent you to the blood investigation. So from where they took your blood, they never puncture your artery because blood comes with a high speed. And that is the oxygenated blood, which we needed more in our body. So always they takes the blood from the vein. And if you have seen, the blood comes out as they pump the syringe up, as they pull the syringe up, the blood comes out with very slow speed. And if you have seen the blood color at that time, it is not dark red. Sometimes it is brownish, sometimes reddish brownish, sometimes reddish bluish with the mixture. So that's why we take the blood from the vein, because it carries the blood with low speed. So veins are narrower than the arteries. So veins are narrower than the arteries, carries blood with low speed and carries deoxygenated blood. Right? So arteries thicker than the veins, veins are narrower than the arteries, carries blood with high speed, it carries blood with low speed, carries oxygenated blood, it carries deoxygenated blood. So there is a one thing also, that arteries carries the blood away from the heart. And as we all know, the arteries are thicker and the gravity helps. Right? Something is the gravity that helps the arteries to carry the blood away from the heart. But veins are narrower and they have to carry the blood against the gravity. Right? They have to carry the blood against the gravity. So guys, you have ever focused in your activity of daily living that how much time we are doing with the standing job, sitting job? Arteries are carrying easily, but if the veins doesn't carry the blood back to the heart, maybe more imbalances takes place inside your cardiovascular system. So that's the problem which we are facing nowadays. That's the main problem. That circulation is not balanced. Arteries can carry, but if the veins cannot carry back, heart has to function more harder to pump. Hypertension is there, high blood pressure. Or the most common problem that is which we are seeing in nowadays in last 10 years is the varicose veins. The person who has more standing job, sitting job, the veins get perforated. It ruptures and thickens. So you have seen the spider veins, which we call like a spider web. So the veins get ligated. And that is the main problem which is happening in the varicose veins nowadays. You have seen the person has like a spider web kind of red veins. It appears on the calf muscles, on the thigh area, so mostly on the lower limbs. The varicose. So in these varicose veins, this is the normal structure of the arteries. In the varicose veins, it becomes perforated like this rupture. And the blood circulation get impaired. So the red kind of things you can feel like this kind of inside the vein you feel that reddish thing. It's like a spider web. So this is the normal artery veins you can see and the ligated, that is perforated veins in the varicose veins. And this we don't need only in general also, guys. Before to go into the bed for the sleep at the night time, must have to be change the position of the gravity, change the position of your legs. If you have any injury on your lower limb, the doctor suggests that lift your leg at the level of your heart. If you remember sometime, if there is any broken bone, any accident, any mechanical injury is there, then always your leg on the two pillows at the level of the heart, so the blood circulation get not impaired, and from the veins the blood can easily go back towards your heart to maintain a good normal blood circulation. So in this varicose veins, what we need to create here now, it perforated, ligated now. What we need to create? Pressure. Right? We have to create pressure. So how we create the pressure? Mostly, guys, some poses are there and some exercises are there. If you don't have a varicose veins, if you have a standing job, sitting job, you may have to apply these kind of exercises or poses in your activity of daily living before you go back to the bed for the sleeping. So how we have to do it? It's very simple. We don't have to go for more difficult things into the treatment or the prevention. I always use prevention is better than the cure, so we have to prevent, right? So easily you can see, guys, you can do this pose, you can use the cushion if you have a knee injuries, and rather to go like that into the Vajrasana, change. You have to sit like this way. So you can create the pressure here on your veins. Right? This you can do. Simple pose for varicose veins. Just for 3 to 5 minutes, depends upon your own capacity. Or you can take a break between. You can sit like 1 minute, take 20-second break, then again 1 minute, take 20-second break, and again 1 minute. So you can do it 3 to 5 times, and 3 times a day in your daily living. Then you can do simply the closed pelvis poses, like when you do the eagle pose. If you are doing the eagle pose, it is creating the pressure here, isn't it? Creating the pressure. So eagle pose, if the balance is the issue, no problem. If you feel that the balance is my issue, we have to create the pressure. So use the wall and try to create the pressure here. You can use the chair pose too together. Or you can use the block too in between your thighs, as we have discussed in the alignment classes for the chair pose. Hold it here. No need to sit. If you don't want to sit, you feel that I'm hurting from here, no need. Just try to press the block in between your thighs, create the pressure, balance is the issue, do like that way. More back problem is there, take the support of the wall, just feel this. We have to create the pressure back to the veins. It's clear? Then after that, guys, we can use several exercises too, like as you lay down on the back. That exercise we call the ankle toe pumps. So what we have to do, if you have a problem with your calf muscles, problem with your knees, just apply that cushion underneath your calf. Like this way, and just do the ankle toe pumps quickly. Pumping your ankles up and down, so the blood circulation becomes more easy to back to your heart. So ankle toe pumps we can do this way. If you want to hold, you can hold for 5 to 10 seconds, release, then back. If you want to do it quickly, so if you do quickly, that will be more beneficial for you to pumping. So that's why we call ankle toe pump. So blood circulation will be easily get back to the heart. Then we can use the cycling here too. So this cycling will help too to work on your lower body muscles. Then the reverse cycle you can do. This you can do 10 times, then release 3 times in one sitting, and 3 times a day you can do. Then you can do the ankle toe pumps if it is more difficult for you with a straight leg, then only do the pumping here. So this is the modification you can do. Then the last thing you can practice here, the legs upside the wall. So the last thing then we can do, guys, after those exercises, then you can lay down easily. You can take use of the help of the wall here too, right? So sit like this way. Go to this reason, just take a help of the wall and adjust the cushion according to you, wherever you want. And here we can do just legs upside the wall. Just be here for 3 to 5 minutes every day. Shoulder has to be relaxed, neck lengthen. Here also we can do ankle toe pump easily, pumping your ankles. And if you want more benefits for this pose, just add butterfly here too. Not for the varicose vein I'm saying, just for in general, for the hip opening. You can use the butterfly. And this ankle toe pumping we can use here too. Then if the problem is in this position for some old age people, or if you have an injury, how to get out of this pose, like just bend your knees first, twist on the side, and just wake up on that way. So if you have a problem sometime like with old age people, lower back pain, how to do that, it's sometimes difficult to leg upside the wall. You can use the chair, you can use the table. So first level you can do like this way, simply just lay down on your back, bring your chair more closer to your thighs or your knees, and just lay down here and just relax your lower body. The simple relaxation posture, and here we can do also this ankle toe pumping. After that, as you feel I'm getting more comfortable on this position, then change the position. Place your feet here, right? You can use the cushion underneath your heels, and you can do this or just stay here, no problem. If you want to add, you can add, but if you want to do the ankle toe pump, use the cushion so you can release the compression from your heels. Then slowly go back, stay here for a while, Then turn around and come to the sitting position. So that's how we can do some quickly release exercises in our activity of daily living for these varicose veins. If you don't have a varicose veins too also, to release the pressure from the veins here, to balance your circulation. If you have a immobile job, right, or sitting job, standing jobs, or you're driving for a longer duration of time. So these all exercises will help you, give you more benefits. So in this varicose veins also, sometimes we use the contrast path. In the contrast path, what happens? It is, we start with the hot and with the cold. So 2 minutes in the hot, 2 minutes in the cold. 2 minutes in the hot, 2 minutes in the cold. So 5 minutes in the hot, 5 times into 2 minutes, 10 minutes into the hot, 10 minutes into the cold. You can do it for 20 to 25 minutes. And also doctors suggest you that, mostly if you have seen in the females, they suggest you to wear the pressure stockings. So the name is the pressure stockings to create pressure in the veins so the blood can flow easily, so you can maintain the pressure so blood can flow back to the heart from the veins. So what we have to do, the remedies for this varicose veins. So exercises you can practice and postures. So exercises and the postures, you can sit into the hero pose, chair pose with block, eagle pose. So this you can do three times, into 3 times, ten seconds hold, and maximum 30-second hold, right? So same here, 3 times a day, 3 repetitions. Ankle toe pump, (20 reps, 20 repetitions. Cycling, 20 to 30 repetitions. Legs upside the wall. Three to 5 minutes per day, 2 times a day. Contrast bath for 25 minutes. And pressure stockings you can use too. Wear pressure stockings. So these are the so many things we have. If anybody around you who suffer from the varicose veins, you can share with them. If you have this kind of stiffness or you feel weakness in the muscles, like blood circulation is not flowing back to the heart, you can try those exercises and feel the difference with you. It's clear, guys? So this is about your varicose veins. So the cardiovascular system has a good effect. So many effects on the yoga practices on the cardiovascular system. So the effects of yogic practices. on cardiovascular system. So there are so many good effects of the cardiovascular system. The practices which we do. You have seen nowadays, guys, mostly people go for the gyms. What they say, I'm going for the cardio. I'm not lifting any heavy weights up. To strengthen your cardiac muscles. Because as we already discussed, the heart is the most stressful organ of the body. If you are not strengthening these muscles and there is no proper warm-up. So in yoga, when you're doing the joint movements, right, the joint gland exercises, so it releases the pressure from your stiffness from the muscles and brings more fresh blood from the heart. So that reduces the stiffness. In the gyms, there is no involvement of the breath, but in the yoga, there is involvement of the breath. So you are inhaling, up, exhale, down. So you are bringing the more fresh oxygen deep to your lung tissues. So the blood is carrying more oxygen, so the heart delivers more oxygen to your bloodstream. So there is no more regeneration and no more degeneration of the cells and tissues. So here we say that there are so many good effects. Like when you're doing the forward bending, right? Like forward bending. But if you have any heart condition or heart issues, you don't have to go more than down to your heart. Just if you want to go forward bending, just hold here, so no pressure on your heart. It's clear? Then when you're doing the twisting poses, when you're doing twisting, it gives a contraction, relaxation of your heart muscles. Contract, relax, contract, relax. So brings and supplies more fresh blood supply. To each and every organ get nourished. When I'm going backward bending, what it does, it stretches the front of your heart. It stretches your heart muscle. After stretching, relaxing. Stretching, relaxing. So muscles get more soft. So there is no more muscle wasting is there. Same thing when we are doing the, as we say, inversions, headstand. Right? Inversion and headstand. So in these organs, there is a stress of the gravity. Isn't it? The stress of the gravity. But when you're going for the upside the wall or when you're doing the headstand, so the blood, so it helps the veins to get the blood back to the heart easily. And organs get released from the stress of gravity. Because the position change, the organ feel refreshed and brings more fresh blood circulation. And they working more actively and pump the blood to each and every organ easily. So these are the benefits that you can gain from the cardiovascular system by your yoga practices to the cardiovascular system. Strengthen your heart, strengthen your heartbeat, strengthen your heart muscles, release the cholesterol from there, balance your triglycerides, but it depends upon the food too, what kind of food we are eating. Like with the condition of the hypertension, as we avoid high intake of sodium or high intake of salt in our diet. No more junk food, no more deep fried, no more oily, avoid alcohol, smoking. So many things are there, guys. It's not only the exercises. That's why we always say food and lifestyle has to be balanced. Right? The food and lifestyle has to be balanced. And for healthy lifestyle, you must have to avoid sedentary lifestyle. Because more movement has to be there. How much you are moving, how much you are using your muscles, heart is beating too much, sometimes heart is not working too much, sometimes heart is not working in an average. So after that, it has to pump more harder as you start. As you start to run, we warm up first. So warm up is there for every activity, whether it is yoga, whether it is jumping, whether it is gymnastic, whether it is athletics, football, anything, to prepare your heart for that particular activity. So it cannot be work in a more pressure, with the more force. So that's why the warm-up is necessary here. And pranayama has also an effect that breathing, when there is a calmness of the breathing, that connects to the heart, so it also calm your heartbeat too. If I ask you to breathe fast, if you're breathing from the chest muscle, you can check your heartbeat increasing. But when I ask you breathe in, inhale, breathe in, exhale, breathe in, breathe out. So whenever you stress, what do people say? Breathe properly, calm, calm, calm. So the pranayama has a good effect also in relation to your heart, in relation to your lungs. So the cardiorespiratory system, they work as a one unit too. They are connected, they are synchronized with each other too. Meditation, different types of meditation we have. Guided meditation that relaxes you more, that relaxes your heart more, stabilize your heartbeat, different types of hormones released, different types of waves in your brain that get activated and deactivated like alpha, beta, theta waves. So that also releases the pressure. The stimulus from the nervous system comes, the central nervous system comes to calm, to relax. So that's why when the people say, calm down, relax, relax, there is a synchronization, the proprioception comes. And automatically, psychologically, what happens? The heartbeat becomes more stable, calm, calm, and stable and balanced. So these are the benefits. Every system has a benefit from the yoga practices, by each yoga practices, guys. So that's why try to make it possible as much as you can. Take the benefits of the different yoga practices. We must have to know about the systems because we are working with the human body. That's why anatomy and physiology is the most important part of the yoga practices. Not only the yoga, wherever your body has involved in every and each kind of studies. And the basic knowledge has to be compulsory if you want to become a good teacher. So that's why take less stress, laugh more, smile more, take care of your heart, and be strong from your heart. Take care of your emotions, feeling, and attachments. Thank you so much. Love and blessings to all of you. Namaste.
Is this place nearby yoga barn, or it's far? And if it's far, how long it's far? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, walking or in the car? Because I remember when I used to walk from the accommodation to yoga barn, it was just like maybe 10 minutes walk. I really like that place.